Okay, so Aisha Yesufu is a Nigerian citizen, an active Nigerian citizen. And I was born and brought up in Kano State. I'm from Edo State, and I grew up in Kano. I had my primary, secondary, and university education in Kano. Although I did go to other universities first, but I never graduated from them. I came back to BUK. At one time, I was in Usman Fodo University and also ABU Zaria. Usman Fodo University, I was a bit sick, and so I left ABU Zaria. The school was shut down for the year, and then I decided to go back to BUK, and I finished from BUK. I read microbiology. I have a second class upper in BSc microbiology. I have a master's in pharmaceutical microbiology. I started my PhD in the year 2007, but I never finished because I had issues with my lecturer and I just left. When I did my master's for 5 years, and I was the first to finish in that set. And it was so difficult, something that was supposed to be 2 years because the Nigerian system, and especially ABU, the way it was then. So I'm married. I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. They are adults now. My oldest child is 21. He's going to be 22 in March. And then my youngest child is 19. She turned 19 in December. And I'm married to an amazing human being called Aliyu Osigwe Yesufu. He's my teacher. He's my mentor. He's my #1 fan. He has always been there for me right from when we met and started going out. I got married in 1998, and so that's in the next few months it will be 23 years that I have been married. And when my husband first met me, he was the one who said to me, "Try and get it 2-1." And initially I didn't bother because I was reading medicine before in ABU area. So when I came to the UK, I realized that E was pass. You know, as medical students, D is fail, only C is pass. And so when I started, I didn't know that other students, E was pass until when I started reading microbiology. And I felt, oh, E is pass. So why are people bothering to read? You can actually read with your E. You can pass. And so when I met my husband, he said to me, oh, you need to get a 2-1 and all of that. And of course, I started reading. My initial CGPA was around 1 point something, 2 point something. I started from that moment, I started getting 4 points and I was able to come out with my 2-1. And you know how hard it is to pull your CGPA from low to high. And of course, my husband again in the year 2000 wrote a letter to me when I started my first business. I'm a businesswoman. A lot of people don't know that. They think, oh, activism is my job. I'm not an activist. I'm just an active Nigerian citizen. So I'm a businesswoman, and I started my business in the year 2000. It's 20 years now that I started my business. And I remember the first business venture I did, my husband wrote me a letter and he said to me, you'll be a businesswoman that the world would reckon with. And that's how much faith he had in me. And over the years, he has always been the one, you know, pushing me, motivating me and inspiring me to go higher and bigger. And so I'm a businesswoman. I've never worked in my life, and I have no intention of working for anybody. So for people who are always thinking about appointments and all of that, it's not what I do. I love to do my own thing when I want to, how I want to. And that's what my business has really been able to afford me. Yeah.
That's interesting. That is interesting. So another question is, you know, as an activist, despite the fact that say you are an active Nigerian, so you can just call you an activist. And there are a lot of activists are inspired by circumstances. So what motivates you to be an activist in Nigeria?
For me, I've always been this way all my life. I've always spoken out against injustice, even as a very young child. And I remember a story that my dad would always share was when I was in nursery school, because my father was okay, well to do a bit until when I was around 11, 12, that he lost his source of income and we were thrown into abject poverty. So I attended a nursery school. And I went to my father, I think I was about 2 years of age or less, and I said to him, if you're not going to take me to school in your own bike, I will no longer go to school, because the neighbor that I was following with, and I said, he didn't want to carry me. He was always holding his faith, and I didn't want that. So I made that demand. So as a child of less than 2, I was actually making demands on my parents. And over the years, I've always been like that, spoken against injustice, even when it comes to my parents at school. It got me into a lot of trouble. I got a lot of beating for that, because in Africa, you know, as a child, you're never supposed to speak up. And so for me, I've always been like that, but I never spoke on national issues. Why I didn't speak on national issues was the fact that I grew up poor. At one time, my father lost his business and life was very difficult. And I know in Nigeria, when you're poor, you're faceless, nameless, and voiceless. And I never, and it sort of like canceled you as a human being. And for me, I always wanted to escape from that ghetto and that poverty. So the first years of my life, I focused on working on my financial independence. While I was doing that, I call that injustice within the circle that I was in. I remember my first protest that I did was in 1992 at Usman Danfodio University. Even when I was in ABU Zaria 1994, I participated in a lot of protests. While I was in BUK, there were a lot of people who would not even want to stand with me at the admin block because they were afraid. They was like, oh, Aisha, you get somebody into trouble. Because I didn't ever get quiet. The lecturer does something, I'm going to go after you if you do something wrong. I'm very respectful, but if you do anything wrong, I'm not going to keep quiet about it. And so, focusing on my financial independence and the people around me, when I got to the age of 40, when I turned 40, I realized that I had become the problem of Nigeria. And how did I become the problem of Nigeria? It was by my silence. I was quiet on the issues that were happening around the country. And I said to myself, growing up as a teenager, I hated Nigeria. I hated the poverty. I hated the corruption. I hated the way poor people were being treated. And so here I was as an adult, and I used to be angry at the adults then. And I like, why are you keeping quiet? Why are you not doing anything? And here I am. I had become an adult. I had just turned 40 and I was silent. I was also failing the children who were in the position that I used to be. And I turned 40 on December 12, 2013. And when I turned 40, I said, okay, from now on, I will start speaking on national issues. It was on my 40th birthday that I made that decision. And I was looking at, okay, what are the things that I need to start speaking on? And because I love education, women empowerment, and all of that. But 4 months after I turned 40, Chibok abduction happened. And I was there with the Bring Back Our Girls movement. I would have come, Buniyadi, I saw Buniyadi killings where they did a march, but I didn't know about it. I only saw it on TV. And I remember sitting with my husband and like, oh, if I had known when they did this march, I would have been part of it. But with the Chibok girls abduction, I was able to know about the march. And then I was there right from that first day on the streets on the April 30th, 2014. And since then, Nigerians have heard me loud and clear. I am one person, I'm very passionate. I don't do things half measure. And whatever I do, I put my everything into it. And that's the reason why the first thing that I ever put my voice on a national issue, Nigerians heard me loud and clear.
Yes. Another issue is you see that being a woman, you can just you are a northerner already, right? The fact that you were born and grew up raised in Kano, we can just call you a true northerner. So how, considering the fact that you see that there's that stigma, right, of married woman, as a married woman, you're supposed to stay at home, just look after your kids. You don't need to be engaging yourself in all this kind of protests on the street. So how do you manage to cope with this kind of criticism and from the people?
For me, all my life, and I think that's one of the things that have really helped me. I've never considered myself as a girl or as a woman. I've always considered myself as a human being who has every right to occupy the space that God has put out to occupy. And so I don't do label. For example, if you go to my Twitter handle, you see the way I describe myself. I said I am me. I don't do label. I say it as it is. You will either love me or hate me, and either one is perfectly okay. So I've never been one to focus on label. So all my life I've got to, oh, you're supposed to be a gay, you're supposed to behave in this manner and that manner. That has never bothered me. I've done the things that I've been convinced about. But one of the things that I know, when they talk about the fact, oh, as a Muslim woman, you're not supposed to do this. As a Muslim woman, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, Is that, what normally happens is that a lot of people use their culture and bring it into Islam.
Yes,
and I said to them, I saw somebody recently on Twitter who said to me, oh, you come out, you are protesting, that's not the way of Islam as a woman. And I said to him, the Islam that I know had women going to war with the men. And in the war, in the Battle of Badr, the Prophet ﷺ was abandoned by the men who were supposed to be there fighting with him. He had given them instruction not to move, but they moved because they thought they had gotten victory, and they went after the people, not knowing that that was a ploy. And it was a woman that came out and defended the Prophet ﷺ when other people came. So and I said to him, the Islam that I know, women went to war. And then, he came back to say that, oh, those ones, they had good motive. They were doing it for God. Your own, you don't have good motive. And I said to him, well, right now, what you're doing is that you have taken the position of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that you know people's motive, because the only person who knows every of our motive is our Creator. And that's why in the hadith, they said actions are judged according to intention. And so I left him at that. Part of the things that for me, I've always had things that worked with me, even when I challenge people and everything, it's knowledge. And knowledge is everything. So when it comes to Islamic knowledge, even as a young child, when sometimes my parents would say, oh, these, that, and I'll say to them, no, this is what Islam says. This is what hadith, this is what the Quran says. This is what hadith have said, and all of that. So for me, it's all about everything about knowledge base, as long as you know what knowledge is all about, what Islam has said. I mean, you don't listen to people when they talk about their thing. I just hear them and I say, that's what you want to do. I'm a Muslim and I'm proud to be a Muslim. And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, remove your hijab, you are abusing the hijab and everything. I'm like, for you to tell somebody to remove the hijab, it means that you are now saying you're putting yourself in the category of God Almighty. Because it is Allah who has given the order that women should wear hijab. And you come out, and when they say it, and I said to them, do you understand that what you're doing is it's like shirk? You're committing shirk by putting yourself in the same position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a lot of people do things from the perspective of not even understanding the knowledge. I'm a Muslim. Anywhere I go in the world, I wear my hijab. If you don't, any country that would not want me to wear the hijab is a country that I'm not interested in going to. When I do my protest, the people we do protest, a good number of them, they know me. I always tell them, give me my Sharia space. Some of my friends, I have one, Yemi Adam, she's always so awesome. She will just come and say, okay, you don't stand here. And if you note, most of what they do, they will put a woman here and a woman there. And that's so, and then even when it's not women, there's always a space that is given, because I said to them, I'm Sharia compliant, and this is what my religion says. And I'm one person who does whatever I'm going to do with all my heart, and as much as possible, I'll follow the rules that I'm supposed to follow, and that's it. I don't owe anybody any explanation. So for me, I know that being a woman does not limit me, because Islam has given women lots of rights over the centuries before a lot of the modern rights that people are fighting for today.
That's interesting. And you see that Nigeria, as you have just talked about on Live, on Facebook Live, has a lot of challenges. There are a lot of challenges facing Nigeria. So what do you think will be the solution to these challenges, considering the fact that there are a lot of things, bad things happening across the country, but there are few people talking about who have the courage to speak out against all this?
The first thing that we need to do is education. We have to get people educated. Beyond getting people into schools, especially the younger generation get to go to school, we must begin to educate also our fellow citizens. Let them know what politics is all about. Let them know what governance is all about. Let them know what rule of law is all about. Let them know what their rights are all about, because a lot of people do not understand their rights. And so people are not making the math. I did a thread on Twitter the other day, which I've also shared on Facebook, to say that the first dictators that a lot of tyrants that a lot of people came in encounter with, that they encountered, were actually their parents. So we have a lot of parents who do not allow their children to speak up, who do not allow their children to have voices, who tell their children, oh, this is it and that's it. And so the children grew up and they simply replace their parents with government and authority. And so they do not speak. And we have a lot of those as citizens in our country today. And people need to understand that the relationship between themselves and government, and that governance is of two sides, the way Dr. Obezakosili would always talk about, the demand side and the supply side. Those who are voted into office, they supply, and those who vote for them demand. So when you're making demand, it's not a crime. You are not a wicked person. You are not right. It's not that you hate government. It's not that you're telling them the pact that you made at election when they were voted in, they have to fulfill it. And it doesn't matter whether you voted for them or not. Whoever is voted into office is voted for on behalf of all of us, and we all have to hold that person accountable. And so citizens must understand that part. So in terms of education, it's very important, and also for people to understand their rights. And then the hypocrisy needs to stop. There's too much hypocrisy in our country, where people will make demands because, oh, the person who is in office, they didn't vote him, or the person who is in office is not from their tribe or their religion, or they don't like the person. That's when they'll make demands. But when they vote for somebody, or the person is from their tribe, religion, region, or they like the person, they will not make demands. That's hypocrisy. Whoever is there, whoever has done anything wrong, there's nothing personal about it. If somebody does anything wrong, call the person out, and that's just simply the way it should be. And we must understand that every one of us, that this country belongs to all of us. If things are not good for one region, it is not good for all of us. And if there's any problem anywhere, it affects all of us. We are connected, and most importantly, Nigerians should be able to unite and work. They don't have to like each other. The politicians don't like each other, but they work for their own selfish interests. It is time also for Nigerians to be able to come together and work also for their own common good. So it doesn't matter whether we like you, I don't like you, whether we have the same religion, not the same religion. We should focus on the things that we need in our country, and we should focus on the problems, because the problems that we have are there for everyone. They are all over the country. There is lack of access to good quality education everywhere. Access to good quality education is not dependent on the economic status of one's family. And so that's something that that should worry all of us. There is poverty everywhere in Nigeria. That should worry all of us and should unite us. There's insecurity everywhere. Forget the fact that there's more insecurity in the north. There is no region in Nigeria that is secure. Everywhere there's insecurities. Just as some, they don't make it to the news, and some are being overlooked because of the high insecurity that we now have in the northeast and in the northwest. So we are affected by lack of development, lack of houses, by the corruption of those who voted into office. And so all of this should be things that should unite us. And then we demand for better, because as a nation, we deserve to be great. Nigeria is blessed by God. God has given us everything to be a great nation, but we are the ones that have refused to be a great nation. And when I see people praying to God to solve their problem, I just laugh. God will not do for us what he has given us the capacity for us to do for ourselves. It's just like sitting down in your room. You close your door, and then you are praying from morning to night. You are praying to God to give you a plate of jollof rice. You won't get that jollof rice, because God has given you capacity to go out, go and get your rice and your tomato and everything, and make your jollof rice and come and eat. So those are not the kind of prayers that God is going to be answering. So when we Nigerians are sitting down and saying that they are praying to God for Nigeria to work, our grandparents have been praying. Where did those prayers get us to? And so we need to, God has given us everything. The greatest miracle on earth is our brain, which God has given us, and we need to make use of them.
That's good. In this case, you mean that regardless of politics, religion, ethnicity, and this gender, it doesn't matter. All we need as Nigeria is to work together, team up, and make sure and promote good governance. We don't even need to play political, religion, ethnicity, and gender-based issues.
Absolutely, that's just it. We don't need to politicize everything. And one of the things people need to understand is that when you're voting people into office, it's about economics. It's about good governance. It's about accountability. It's about transparency. It doesn't matter who is there. And I've said this before. In 2014, when people were saying that, oh, Jonathan is not doing anything, the Northerners are being killed and all of that, because I said, no, it's about incompetence. Jonathan, even if it is Niger Delta people that are being killed, and by the way, that's my region, I'm from the Niger Delta. And I say, even if it's Niger Delta people that are being killed, Jonathan will not do anything because he does not have the capacity to do something. And here we are today. People are being killed in Katsina State. That is the president's state right now. Yes. People, we just got over 300 students are abducted in Kankara, in Katsina State, and just after the abduction, on the day that the president got into Katsina, they were abducted, and now we've heard that in Islamia, of course, is this 70-something students were also abducted. So Katsina State has got, the insecurity in Katsina State is so high that it doesn't matter that the president is actually from Katsina State. His competence is what would have helped them, and he doesn't have that competence, and it's not helping them. So we need to forget about all of this ethnicity, religion, gender, and what have you, in terms of deciding who are the people who vote into office.
That's great. That's great. So recently, BBC has selected you as one of the most powerful women, or most influential women persons, right? Not even women, as one of the most influential persons in Nigeria, or in Africa. Sorry. How has that inspired you? Or how has that inspired you to keep fighting for good governance?
Oh, okay. So I got selected as one of the 100 women, influential women in the world. And so for me, I don't know whether it's something that motivates me or influences me, because really, I'm not one person who is very good at getting awards or getting praises and all of that. I just do what I need to do. For me, I would rather all these problems are not there and I don't need to do anything and nobody knows me. That would be a better way for me, rather than having these problems that need to be solved, that are not yet being solved, and then being recognized for it. And so, it's something I do appreciate. It's something that I'm very thankful for, and I feel like, oh wow! I mean, they were counting 100 women, and they thought about me in 2020, and for me, that's great. But fight for a better Nigeria, fight against injustice, fight against brutality and government brutality and all of that is something that I'm very passionate about. And I always say that there's nothing, no matter what Nigeria throws at me, I will continue to fight for a better Nigeria. I'm doing it for the generation unborn, the same way I wish others had fought for me before I was born. I always look at it that if people had fought and gotten a better Nigeria before I was even born 47 years ago, I mean, I wouldn't be going through this today. And I would want the next generation of Nigeria that will be born into this country to not come and meet this mess that we have today. And so for me, that's really what keeps me motivated. And I always feel that I cannot give up on fighting for a better Nigeria, because if I give up on fighting for a better Nigeria, that would mean that I failed the little girl that was angry at the way Nigeria was not being run very well and was asking for help and yearning for help, and nobody listened. It would have meant that I failed myself, and that I can never allow to happen.
Yes. You see, a lot of activists in Nigeria are facing a lot of challenges, ranging from threats, freezing of their account, and other threats. So, are you being dissuaded by the ongoing crackdown against activists?
Absolutely not. I'm absolutely not. I've been waiting for them anytime, any day. I'm free. The thing is that the crackdown on activists started, the shrinking of the civic space started quite a long time ago. I think about 2017, when Osibanjo was the acting president. That was when a major shrinking of the civic space started. And as a member of the Bring Back Our Girls movement, we were talking at that moment. Bring Back Our Girls movement was saying to Nigerians, we need the civil space. We cannot allow the civil space to be shrunk, where a lot of people didn't listen. And we had been attacked several times by then. And I remember I've already made up a whole lot of, I had to do a lot of adjustments in terms of even my accounts, where I used to be so signatory. had to make it not so signatory in preparation for any time that I might be arrested or something or killed or whatever. So I'm not dissuaded at all. I'm not bothered, because for me, death, I've always said, is death for me is not when you no longer breathe in oxygen and bring out carbon dioxide. Death for me is when you cannot speak against injustice because you are afraid to die. That for me would already be death. So I have one person who, as a Muslim, I believe in the fact that whatever would happen will happen. The day that I'm going to die is the day I'm going to die. I've gotten a lot of threats, death threats and everything. People have called for me to be killed, for me to be slaughtered and all of that, for me to be arrested and all of that. So I'm prepared for any of them. Whatever can happen, whatever will happen, will happen. If I'm going to die today, I'm going to die today, whether anybody touches me or not. And so I'm not bothered about such things. The thing is that even if I die today, my voice can never be silenced, because there are my voice that are out there. I have recordings, I have videos out there that people will continue to play. And as long as there's technology, as long as even people that might not even be born when I leave, will be able to listen to that and say, wow, this is what she's saying. And so I'm vocal, I use my voice. I'm not going to come to this world and just occupy space and just die and go and not make any positive difference to the world. That for me would be failure. So I'm not bothered about what people are saying. And I always say to them, look, there are people who are dead, who are more alive than the people who are alive today. Martin Luther King was killed over 50 years ago. I tell you, he is more known than a lot of people that are still his contemporaries that are still alive today. So death it's when I see people, threatening me with death, and some will come and say, oh, you're gonna die because you're doing this and that. I'm like, death is the surest thing anyway. We are all going to die. Whether you talk or you don't talk, when death comes, it's going to happen. So why would I not talk?
That's great. That's good. So what is your call now on Nigeria? What do you think Nigerians should do as citizens to bring about changes? Because you see that based on the recent event on EndSars protest, it is your movement that helped you to that has the president, as you know, pressurized the president to terminate this SARS. So what do you think that Nigerians should do as citizens to make sure that they bring about changes in the country?
Nigerians should learn how to make demands. Silence is not an option. Complaining in your house is not an option. Learn to make demands. If there's a protest, learn to come out. Learn to be there and know that you're not slave to those that you voted into office. There's a reason why they are called public servants. They are actually supposed to serve you. And the president, you're the one paying the salaries of the president and taking care of his expenses. Our citizens should understand that there's something called the office of the citizen, and it's the highest office in the land. The office of the president is the highest political office in the land. So the office of the citizen is higher than the office of the president. The legitimacy of any government and the power of any government is derived from the people. And so the people are the real owners of the power. And Nigerians must realize that. Nigerians must not stop allowing themselves to be cowards. Nigerians must stop allowing themselves to be divided. We saw what happened with the EndSars protest. Youth were able to unite and work together and fight for their rights. And they're being heard. And nothing that the government listens to as much as protest. You see now, the EndSars issues is being tackled in a way, even though reluctantly, but at least something is being done about it, even though not as much as what is expected, but something is being done about it. When you do nothing, the government absolutely will not do anything. And I just call on Nigerians to forget all this issue of trying to pick what is the person's motive, what is the person's religion, which part of the region the person is for. We are all suffering. And nobody is spared. There's no region in Nigeria that is spared from all the suffering. So it's very important for Nigerians to begin to work together. You don't need to like each other. Like I heard being said recently, they said, if you like everybody in an alliance, then it is not an alliance, because you're supposed to work with people you like and people you don't like. And that's how you come together to work for the common good. And those are the things that we must begin to do. And most importantly, every Nigerian should be interested in politics. Politics. For us to fix Nigeria, we have to fix politics. And how do we fix politics? By ensuring that we have educated and empowered electorate who understand the power of their vote, who will not be swayed by 5,000 naira for their votes to be bought. We must ensure that we have value-based candidates who are running for office. And we must also ensure that the umpires are also truly independent. INEC is truly independent, and also the Constitution. We have a new and better Constitution than what we had from coming from the military. And every one of us must understand that we must participate in politics. It is either you are running for office, or you are a part of people running for a campaign team of the people running for office, or you are also donating your widow's mite to people who are running for office. What we have in Nigeria today is that a lot of people wait for people who are running for office to be the ones to bring money for their campaign. And if we continue like that, it is only those who have looted money from Nigeria that will keep winning election in Nigeria. So what we need to do is to put our money where our votes are, and ensure that the people that we see are good. They have people with competence, character, capacity, empathy, patriotism, that are innovative, that will go into office and give us good governance, accountability, and transparency, that we donate to their campaign. If it's 1 naira, you have 5 naira, you have 10 naira, you have 20 naira, 100 naira, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million naira. That's the highest you can donate in cash, although you can do more in kind. If that's what you can donate to this candidate, and let's all come together. When they win, they will know that we are the ones that voted them in. But where we are expecting that a candidate will come around for office, will be the one to bring money for campaign, money to give people and all of that, guess what? The right people will never win election. It will have to be those people that will come and continue to give us our bad governance, that will not take care of our nation and will not do the right thing for our nation. So every Nigerian must be ready to participate in politics and put our money where our votes are.
Thank you so much. And finally, before we end the meeting, I would like to maybe hear your views on. You see that women during the recent recent frame about that iconic picture of you on the protest. Even some women in the north just criticize you, say, "Hi, this lady is not even representing us." So you see that there are a lot of challenges women face when it comes to domestic violence. You see all this lack of access to education, abuses, rape in the north. You see the case is even far worse in northern Nigeria than other part of the country. So what call will you make to women as to how they can just rise up and make sure that they challenge this kind of dominance?
I think that one of the things that people need to understand is that nobody owes anybody a voice. Nobody owes anybody a protest. Every one of us has a capacity to be able to make demands, and people must understand that. People must stop trying to contract their demands out. Oh, there are certain people that are supposed to make demands. No, every one of us must make demands. And over the years, we've spoken about a lot of issues when it comes to women brutality, when it comes to teenage marriages, when it comes to a whole lot of things. But many people, when you're talking about them, they look the other way. They never say anything. I saw recently where some people were saying to me, "Oh, you don't talk about northern issues." I'm like, seriously? All the issues, 90% of the issues we talk about are northern issues, because that's where the most problems are coming out from. But when you're talking about it, the same northerners that you're talking about will tell you that, "Oh, don't say this. We are okay. Buhari is president. We are from the north. You are not from the north, and everything is okay." When we're talking about this insecurity, for years I kept saying Boko Haram had not been defeated. This insecurity is going on. There was a media blackout, and we kept talking about this. A lot of people insulted us. They will say, "Oh, we are from the northeast. You are not from the northeast. There is peace. Nothing is happening." But today, see where we are. Everything has turned upside down. I thought it's very important for people to understand that when they see other people holding government accountable, they should not come and start attacking those people and then defending government. Their business is not to defend government. The government have people that they pay to defend them. For example, the president has, I think, about 4 or 5 spokespersons. He has Femi Adesina to defend him. He has Garba Shehu to defend him. He has Tolu Ogulesi to defend him. He has Bashir Ahmed to defend him. And he also has Loretta Onochi to defend him. 5 spokespersons being paid by taxpayers' money to defend the president, to talk about his achievement. So why do citizens think that they have to come and start defending the president? Why can't they defend themselves? Why can't they defend their fellow citizens who are going through so much? So for me, I think everyone needs to have a voice. Speak out. You start from somewhere. Even if you cannot come out and be on the street do your protest on your page. We have social media. Media has been democratized, and everybody has access to social media. Like you just said earlier, I did a live program. I didn't need to go to TV station. I didn't need to pay anybody. It's nobody's TV. I could say what I wanted to say on my live pages. And I did that. I was on Facebook Live and Instagram Live. And sometimes I add YouTube Live, and I get to do the things that I want to say there. So media has been democratized, and every one of us have access to that media. You can do videos enlightening people. You can do videos talking about what it is you want to do. I do that a lot, and I said these videos, they are shared on WhatsApp. They go viral. They go. A lot of people see the people you will never ordinarily meet. They get to watch your video and they get to hear the messages there. So every one of us, with the advent of technology, with the advent of social media, nobody has an excuse to say that they are incapacitated on making demands on certain issues. When I started, I go back to some of my old tweets today, and there are some, nobody liked them, nobody retweeted them. They never stopped me from talking. I'm going to talk my truth. I'm going to talk about my conviction. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, whether somebody is listening or not. When I started doing my videos, I didn't do my videos based on whether anybody will listen. I did my videos based on, I needed this fact to be out there. I needed this to be, this demand to be out. And I will do it and I'll put it out there. Some nobody bothered about, some people go to it. So let people begin to talk. Let people begin to speak. Do what is most comfortable with you. You can be somebody who knows how to draw. Draw. There are statements you can make in your drawing. There are people who use cartoon to make demands. There are people who write articles to make demands. There are people who use music to make demands. There are people who use paintings to make demands. There are people who talk to make demands. There are people who walk on the street. So there are different ways of making demands. And all of us must begin to deploy the one that we're most good at. What is not acceptable is just to be a passive citizen, do nothing, blame fellow citizens, and just sit down there and expect that things will change. Things won't change.
Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, Aisha. I think you have answered all the questions I have on the table. All I can say is, despite the fact that you're too busy, you're too engaged, you have a lot of issues, but you will still have time to respond to some of your questions. I say thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time and for being part of the Sheroes. Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch.
Thank you so much for having me. They will hear, inshallah. Take care.